Hi, I'm Terry Ammerman with the Terry Ammerman Group. I have been studying and teaching communications my entire career. Our company focuses on media training, presentations training, and what we call high emotion public meeting training. How do you deal with angry people? And I've now brought my expertise to the online community. I'm especially interested in working with young professionals who are just starting in their careers and they're learning how to be more effective and get done what they want to get done. So what I want to talk about today is what we call in our training the language of the living room. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So when we do media training, we tell our clients that the people who watch the 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock news have an average education of the 8th grade. And many of those people also have English as a second language. So what that means is that when you are explaining something to a general audience, you want to make sure that you are using language that they will understand. We do a lot of work with oil and gas companies, with chemical companies, and they are known for their acronyms and for their jargon. But even people who are doing much different work in nonprofit communities or in other areas, will use language that they're very comfortable with internally, but the average person does not use that language. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Let me give you an example. All right. So we were working with a company at one point that was a shopping center, and they were doing some training, and they kept referring to the retail experience. Well, yeah, we kind of know what that means, but what I told them was that when I call a friend and say, let's go shopping, I don't say, let's go out Saturday and have a retail experience. No, I say, let's go shopping. So that's an example of you want to use the words that your audience understands. My colleague, the gentleman that I work with every single training that we do, is a former Fox News reporter. And he had to learn that because he was taking highly complex information and explaining it to the general public, the general audience. So a lot of people we work with are engineers, and they use language that is very interesting and unique to them, and it may not resonate with the average audience. For example, one of our major clients is a car manufacturer. Well, when they're talking within their own department and they're talking about something that's going on internally, they can use the jargon and the acronyms, and they all understand each other. But if one of them or someone within their company would go out and explain the safety features or the technology on the car, they're going to have to say it a different way. I actually worked with one of the executives from this company, and we practiced a presentation that she made. And it was probably a 10-minute presentation, and I would say within every minute of the script, there were words that the average audience wouldn't understand. So when we flipped it around and she was able to do it in a more conversational way, it resonated so much better than it had before. And that brings up an interesting word, and I've said this word before. We want you to be conversational, not casual, but conversational. So you want to do what you can to take information that might be technical, but make it conversational so that people understand it better. Now, I've heard the phrase in the training that we've done, I've heard the phrase dumbing down. Well, I don't want to have to dumb it down. And let me just pull that phrase away and talk about it differently. It is actually a sign of intelligence to take a highly complex subject and be able to explain it in a way that the average person could understand. So think about that when you are speaking to people and wanting to help them understand something. Let me tell you another place I see this is just talking to people on the telephone. Let's say, for example, you're calling maybe a grocery store or Comcast or someone like that. They will use so many different terms that we kind of understand what they mean, but we don't really. And I will often, in a conversation like that, say, okay, explain to me what you mean by that. Explain to me what you mean by this. So they'll, for example, I'm trying to think of one and nothing's coming to mind easily, but let's say you call Comcast and they're going to say, well, we've got three options: the everyday bundle, the weekend bundle, and the universal bundle. And so those, they know, all make sense to them. They don't make sense to us until they explain everything that's in them. And then if you've ever been in those situations, they'll start talking really, really fast and say, okay, so in the everyday bundle, you get this, 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 and this. And then in the weekend bundles, you're going to get this, 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 and this, but you don't get that, and then this one costs more. And then in the universal bundle, you're going to get all of this, but it's going to be $100 more a month, and you'll also get this, this, and this. And they do that in about 45 seconds, and you're like, I don't understand a thing you just said. So maybe I'm the only one, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. So when you are explaining something to someone who isn't in your area of expertise, whether it's customer service, whether it's you're an engineer and you're talking to someone in a different department about something that you're working on, whatever it is, think of ways that you can, number one, make it conversational, and number two, use the language of the living room. Think about how you would explain it to an 8th grader. Now, not in a condescending or superior way, but in a way that would help them understand what you're sharing so that you can influence them with that material and get them to do what you want them to do with that information. That's it for today. Have a great day, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.